Yeah, I know. Can we please stop the race swapping? Well, in the case of Hawkman with the story, and they go back and forth with him over the decades because originally he was this character who was reincarnated from, and his original identity or person was the Pharaoh Khufu, and eventually becomes Carter Hall, an archaeologist, and all that sort of stuff. This is where I'm kind of wondering about this. So this actor Aldous Hodge announced on what was his Instagram that yeah, he's been cast to be Hawkman in the Black Adam film, and so he said, "Hey, let's get ready to go." And he's talking about working with The Rock and Centennial. Is that the guy that was supposed to be He-Man at one point? I can't remember. But anyway, there you go. He's going to be Hawkman. He'll look a little different than this because Hawkman was always portrayed as white. However, in the reincarnation version, they later did it where he's an alien from the planet Thanagar, and then now I think they've combined the two, and all that. And the Justice League animated series did it at best that way, where the Thanagarians came in ancient Egypt and all that. So anyway, it's long-winded stuff, but with the reincarnation and being different people over millennia, there's the golden age stuff. It stands to reason that he would be different races. So you say, oh look, here's the Egyptian pharaoh and he's black and everything. Now, do they mean that he's playing the current time Hawkman, or is he playing the original Prince Khufu Hawkman, who takes on Black Adam in his era? Because Black Adam is from ancient times, and it's the fictional Middle Eastern country of Kondak, but still, then Khufu would have known this guy. Plus, there's Dr. Fate, because they're talking about forming the Justice Society. So, in this, could he be playing the original one in that era? Dealing with Black Adam, and then there's the Nabu, who is the spirit living in the helmet of Dr. Fate, could be alive and well then, and even the wizard Shazam, well, he would, because that's where Black Adam gets his powers. So, like, you could have these different versions, and then as they move through time, apparently the original Justice Society defeats Black Adam when he comes back, and I guess this is at an earlier time, and maybe they're going to go ahead and establish that there was a Justice Society during World War II in that era, and they have to take on Black Adam, and once again they defeat him and imprison him, and then the third act would be his arrival in modern times, and then a new Justice Society has to rise up to defeat him, and at that point, would that be, I mean, in this era, the way they're constantly virtue signaling, would they even allow it that there would be, then in the current times, there'd be a white Hawkman and it would be a different guy? I don't know. I doubt it. He's probably, both. He'll probably be the past guy and then he'll reincarnate and look the same, So, but there is that possibility. But even so, with the reincarnation and whatnot element of Hawkman, yeah, you can weave that in there. It just doesn't match up with how the comics are, where he's white in the current times, and his other selves in the distant times, different races. Certainly in Egypt, he wouldn't be. So, yeah, whatever. Well, they cast Elizabeth Taylor's Cleopatra and that. Yeah, I know. You don't do the same thing, dummy. But it's not as bad as other race swapping, as there's ways of weaving this into the story, especially if they did that. I would be kind of, that he's Khufu and then he's the original Hawkman and all that. Yeah, whatever, and even if they throw it in that he's from Thanagar and all that type of stuff, that might be kind of cool. But I don't know how much they can cram into a movie that's supposed to be about Black Adam, but, there you go. Well, that being said, there's this other thing. It's just because of an interview with the Tenet actor, John David Washington, which unfortunately I haven't been able to see Tenet because we still don't have movie theaters now. And now, after the storm, well, I don't even know if that's ever coming back. But anyway, apparently the idea of him playing Reed Richards came up in an interview, and he said, "Oh, I'd do that in a heartbeat." But basically the tone of it was that he's very open to doing superhero stories. Yeah, not crazy about this idea at all. I'm not familiar with him. I know he's Denzel Washington's son, so he's got that heritage, and he's probably a pretty good actor. He does look like a superhero character. But I would rather he go over to the DC side of things, because the fan art is there, and oh, look at this. Yeah, he'd make a great John Stewart, you know, and that would actually work very well. But we've already had the race swapped Fantastic Four, and it serves no real purpose other than people to pat themselves on the back and aren't I wonderful and look what I did for black people. It's pandering and insulting, you know, in a lot of ways. And God, when does the trend end? So there's plenty of characters that you could do, and why aren't they good enough? You know, it always has to be a white character, because a black character isn't good enough on its own. You know, so yeah, not crazy about that, but. Him as John Stewart, well, that's a different story. I mean, it just looks really cool here. So, that might be better. But of course, he's leaving his options open. If they offer him the Reed Richards, of course he's going to take it. So would I, you know. But we've had misfires with Fantastic Four. And oddly enough, that third iteration, which the approaching it like a science fiction story was not bad, but good God, was that a mess. Even with and the race swapping was stupid, and they did Johnny Storm but not Sue. Why weren't they both? You know, just dumb things like that. Well, they're adopted. Yeah, but that changes the story even further for no reason. You know, it's like, look at me, look what I did, I'm great, because you don't have a good story and plot, so you try to shield it, what you said, because if you don't like it, it means you're racist and all that. So it's just very, very tiring and awful. It's a terrible thing to do, you know, because if you're going to take the issues of racism seriously, you shouldn't treat them in such superficial ways as that. So anyway, there you go. Mr. Fantastic, no. John Stewart, yes. Hawkman, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it might work, especially if it's the scenario I said, you know, because they don't really give it away here. So who knows? But either that or he plays both versions or something like that, probably. But still, it's kind of part of his story, so it can sort of work. But as far as Mr. Fantastic, nah, not too crazy about that.
Alright, thank you for watching and listening. So why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.